Laker fans, get ready. Not for a playoff run, but for emotional manipulation about LeBron James. It's been 7 years, but the Clippers still think they can win with Kawhi Leonard, and USC recruits an elite pass rusher. We think. Good morning. I'm James, and this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is April 18, 2026. Do you like being in the know about LA sports? Well, if you do, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop an update. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. So before we go through the news and notes, we have a look at the scoreboard. Dodgers 7, Colorado 1. Max Muncy homers twice. The lead in the NL West grows to 2.5, and the magic number shrinks down to 141. Meanwhile, today, Houston at the Lakers at 5:30 in Game 1 of the first round of the NBA Western Conference playoffs. Kevin Durant is listed as questionable. Questionable. Yeah, the question is, why are you wasting our time with that trash? We know he's playing. Cut it out. Dodgers are at Colorado at 5. That's Emmett Sheehan versus Ryan Feltner. It is also Galaxy game day. They are at FC Dallas at 5:30. The Galaxy have lost 9 consecutive games there. And the last win over in Dallas, 2015. So with that out of the way, let's get to the news. It has been discussed so often all season. Will this be LeBron James's final year? And if not, will it be his final year in LA? I am genuinely annoyed that we have to bring it up again. Do you like being emotionally manipulated? I don't. It's why people want to haul off and punch someone when they start acting passive aggressive. But this is the only card that the Scribes know how to play. When they're not trying to talk to you about politics, whether you're political or not, they're always trying to get in your feels instead of telling you who won and lost. So I bring this up because you're going to hear about this in damn near every single playoff game that the Lakers fall behind in, if the Lakers lose a game, if the Lakers are down to win and go home. That's the only thing you're going to hear about. And The Athletic already knew this because they've been writing about, will LeBron James retire? They've been writing about it all year. They know the story is a dead horse. They knew this. Just like they knew they couldn't trust Diana Rossini, but I digress. Either way, dead horse or not, The Athletic broke out the paddles and blasted 50,000 volts into Seabiscuit to try to bring the old nag back to life Friday. Multiple sources say that on the eve of the playoffs, James still hasn't made a decision, but he might punt on a farewell tour. This is everything and more that you and I have been discussing all year long. There was exactly 0 new ground covered, which is what makes this story so shameful. The Lakers, let's go through the points real quick. The Lakers would prefer that he retire as a team legend. They see James now understands that there is chemistry with him and Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. The Lakers are going to have cap space, but they would rather build a better roster. So please, LeBron, if you want to stay, that's great, but please take a pay cut. And maybe he doesn't want to, but if he leaves as a free agent, then you're going to hear from Golden State, Cleveland, and the Clippers. This rehashing that I just gave you, without emotion, will be further rehashed all playoff long with the most insincere tears that you have ever seen. This is literally going to be played like when you're on a first date and you're watching her mouth just move about all of her hopes and dreams, and all you hear from her mouth is blah, 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 blah. That is what you are going to be hearing whenever they start talking about LeBron James. To be clear, I don't think the Lakers are going to win the series. They could, but I don't think they will. When the Lakers start losing any game, this is your warning. The announcers are going to talk about LeBron, and all you're going to hear for the next 5 minutes is blah, 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 blah. Way to ruin what was otherwise a pretty compelling playoff run, fellas. Meanwhile, with the Clippers, President of Basketball Operations Lawrence Frank told the Scribes yesterday that Coach Ty Lue will return. And, quote, "Our plan is to win with Kawhi Leonard." You would think Frank would have followed that quote with, "because we don't see any other way." But he didn't. Hasn't worked so far in 7 years, by the way. But instead, Frank said, quote, "We obviously showed as an organization that we want to continue and we are driven to win. So at the appropriate time, we'll sit down with Kawhi and, very similar to 2024, lay out our plan. And if our goals are aligned, then we'd like to win with Kawhi," unquote. We talked about it yesterday. It's going to be exceptionally difficult for the Clippers to try to replace the 28 points per game that Leonard was tossing up on the scoreboard night after night. It was his best offensive year of his career. And yet it was also the first time he missed the playoffs while he was healthy. Frank then spread this layer of fertilizer all over the Clippers' future. So much fertilizer. It was so thick that it could have grown a crop large enough to end world hunger. Frank said that the Clippers are now in great position because they have emerging young players. And they have, draft capital. I mean, that's semantics. They actually have a draft pick now. And that they have cap space, which is technically true, but they have the 17th most cap space in the NBA, so So yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Not too sanguine on the Clippers' immediate future, but I could be wrong. Over at Heritage Hall, I really want to believe this kid because he sounded so damn sincere. 4-star edge rusher Mekhi Brown has pledged to come to USC. And you may say, why would I want to believe in this cynical time of NIL, where players can leave at any time for any reason? A guy could go, "Hey man, there's too many 304s swiping left on my dating profile. Where's the transfer portal?" Right? But even with that, why do I want to believe in Mekhi Brown? It's because he made this big point of saying he's going to be at USC, quote, "for the next 3 or 4 years," unquote. Kind of gives this vibe like he actually does want to stay. But the reason I don't believe him, he's from the East Coast. We have seen a lengthy list of East Coast prospects just rug pull the Trojans at the last moment. It happened so many times. I don't even call high school commits anymore. Because to commit means you're going to follow through. My ex-wife burned through more rubbers than a drag race, and even she was more loyal than some of these people committing to their colleges. Now, if Brown stays and you're a Trojans fan, this is what you should expect. Brown is kind of like Eric Gentry with much more muscle. He's the 8th ranked edge rusher in the class of 2027. Having said that, not all was neato over at USC. Over with the basketball team, center Gabe Dines has left for the portal, where his biggest selling point to his next school will be, "I'm 7'5". Well, that's great. Were you a consistent starter for USC? I'm 7'5". Okay, great. How's your post game? I'm 7'5". Rebounding, you get the idea. You get the idea. Now, look, I'm as big a believer as anyone in the idea that height makes right in basketball. But for being 7'5", he sure had a hard time trying to find that rim thing. Dude averaged 2.9 points and 2.3 rebounds. He was only off the bench for less than 12 minutes per game. Now, I'm sure when he heard the Trojans' recruiting class is all big men, he knew he was on the short end of the stick, knew he needed to book the next flight out of town on at LAX. Of course, that has to be with the plane with enough leg room, because in case you hadn't heard, he's 7'5". By the way, he's also the 5th player to leave the program after missing the NCAA tournament. I have not spoken as much about UCLA football spring practice as I would like to. There's a reason for that. We have very little that we can count on. There's been so much change. So many players out, so many new players in. We have no idea what a depth chart is. We don't know really what the playbook is going to look like with all these new players. But there is one name that has been brought up on a regular basis, and that would be edge rusher Sahir West. He was one of a battalion of players that moved west along with Bob Chesney from their old stomping grounds of James Madison. West had 14 tackles for a loss as a freshman. Now, I will grant you the Big Ten is an upgrade in terms of talent, so it's way too early to use big phrases like defensive cornerstone about this guy. But my gut is telling me, because everybody keeps talking about him, that this is a guy who somebody you're going to hear about a lot this upcoming season. And considering the Bruins didn't get to 10 sacks until the final game of last year, that would be a bit of an upgrade. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about whether or not you give a bleep about LeBron James, and maybe it's his last season. Or for that matter, do the Clippers have a chance in hell with Kawhi Leonard anymore? And if you enjoyed this update, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortel Queso production. Take care.